Well, hello, CSS Nation. My name is Harry Mullen, and my partners here is Pernell Husband. How you doing today, Pernell?
I'm doing very well, Harry. How are you?
I'm doing outstanding. Just got back from another assignment abroad, and wasn't too long this time. But it's always good to get home.
Excellent. Good to have you back safe, man.
Thank you.
So, what we'd like to do today is to share three things that we think any CEO, COO, chief of nursing, vice president, whoever is the decision maker, needs to consider when looking for a sterile processing consultant.
So actually, for this episode, we're probably going to be doing three things and a bonus. Now, I'm going to go ahead and start off with the first item that we're talked about was unimpeachable character. All right. They need to make sure that they're willing to put the best interest of the client ahead of their own. And unfortunately, there are companies out there that, although they advertise that we can come in and we can fix things, what they're actually chasing is the almighty dollar. And, my opinion is, and discussing it with Purnell, is the fact that, you know what, we don't worry about the dollar. Not to say that the dollar is not important, it is, but we're not chasing after the money because we believe that if we do our job right by putting the client's interest ahead of our own, then they're going to have an outstanding outcome in resolutions for the problems that they have in their department, and in turn, word's going to get out, and more clientele are going to be headed our way.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, character, number one. I think you said it, putting the client's best interest um, first and foremost is important. Building trust with our clients is absolutely important. We appreciate the nature of exactly what it is we're dealing with and the privacy concerns. And so, having character, absolutely. Second thing that we believe should be looked for um, in your search for a sterile processing consultant is solid experience. A good consultant should have experience with the challenges or opportunities you and your company are facing. The consultant brings to the table experience, specific experience, dealing and resolving the challenges that you're facing. So, number two, solid experience. The consultant needs to be able to articulate his or her experience dealing with the specific challenges that you're facing.
When having a consultant come into the department, they practically have to have worked in a sterile processing department for a certain period of time, whether it be a technician or as a manager, to understand that of what it is that we do. And even though Purnell, you and I are consultants, I am, and in the foremost in my mind, I am still a technician. Even as an educator, I have always thought of myself as a technician because the majority of my career, the first 20 years, was as a technician. Um, but the important thing to remember about consultants with solid experience is not just that they have solid experience within sterile processing. So let's say you bring in a consultant that knows, like us, that knows sterile processing. But the question is, do we know periop? And the great answer to that is yes, we do. So our next item that is extremely important is to me is a kind of a twofold thing. Outstanding communication skills along with interpersonal skills. So a good consultant needs to be very articulate. He or she should possess unusually strong communication skills, both orally and in writing. It's also important to remember that communication, as we all know, is a two-way street. Uh, you have very strong speakers, but sometimes they don't always effectively listen to the customer. They just assume what it is, that needs to be done. They want to put their stamp of what they feel a department should be looking like. And so, because of that, they're so focused on what their agenda is that they fail to listen and understand the unique situations that are going on within that department.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So, on interpersonal skills, communication skills, excellent communication skills, and excellent interpersonal skills. What say you?
Yeah, I think, those interpersonal skills are critically important. Typically we're coming to our clients at a particularly vulnerable time for them. They either have not done so well on a survey, or they're very nervous about going into a survey. There's all kinds of issues. And with excellent interpersonal skills, um, you will be able to navigate those issues very well. You have to be empathetic at the same time. You have to be very clear about what needs to happen and what you're seeing in the department. So, absolutely, interpersonal skills are critically important.
Well, Pernell, it's time to take a quick break, and I want to cut over to our tutor from the school side and explain to people just briefly, uh, what's happening in sterile processing because of COVID.
The job market right now is, I feel, much better than it was even when I went in. As the result of the COVID pandemic that we've had, our profession has been even under more spotlight and given even more of an opportunity. We're infection control, we're infection preventionists, and breaking the chain of infection and destroying viruses is our job, and it's what we're trained to do as professionals. That field is going to keep growing and growing. The sterile processing field is a great way to come into the hospital setting. Again, you're coming right into the operating room.
Well, folks, welcome back to the show. I always like watching that little clip. Ken is awesome. He's great on our school side when it comes to tutoring, and he is somebody that I'd like to actually get on our show to talk about what took place when he retired from one industry, came into the sterile processing world, chose us to educate him, and then went on and in a very short period of time went from technician with no experience to running a department and being a supervisor. So that would be an interesting conversation, especially for those starting out in the field that are just actually maybe 6 months or more that are in the field and stuff. So, all right. So back to the show. We are talking about the three things specifically in choosing a consultant, what you need to be looking for. And, so when selecting a consultant, you want to follow some simple tips and important guidelines in choosing those individuals, those companies to come into your department.
Yes, and we'll continue with creative problem solving skills. What is a consultant? At the end of the day, a consultant is a subject matter expert. This is someone who is well versed in the regulatory landscape, in best practices, and all questions in and surrounding a subject matter area. So this person that you're looking for needs to have exceptional creative problem solving skills. They have to be a problem solver. After all, you're hiring a consultant to help you solve problems or take advantage of opportunities.
Again, you need to have, you know, good communication skills. You need to have good, solid experience. Be able to bring all of these different things, because all of these topics we talked about all make a well-rounded consultant. And personally, I think that's us, Pernell.
I would agree. So, again, for decision makers out there who are hoping to engage with a subject matter expert in the field of sterile processing, you can reach us at www.centralsterilizationsolutions.com. And just to summarize these few points that we've just talked about today, some of the things that you should be looking for are unimpeachable character. You want someone of the highest character. Solid experience. You want someone who has experience dealing with the kinds of issues and challenges that are affecting you. Outstanding communication skills. Obviously, you want someone to be able to clearly articulate their findings and what direction you need to move in and why. Creative problem solving skills. You want someone who has a good imagination, who is a quick learner, and who can clearly articulate what needs to happen. Excellent interpersonal skills, like Harry said. The communication and the interpersonal skills go hand in hand. You need to engage someone who can clearly communicate effectively, but who also is warm and has an ability to get along with folks. We believe that these few things should be considered when engaging with a consultant in the sterile processing space.
Well, there you go. I think that was outstanding. A lot to think about. And I just want to remind everybody to, share this show. Go to our YouTube station, our channel, Central Sterilization Solutions. Watch our shows from there. If you like them, give us a thumbs up, and subscribe to our show, as well as share it. And for those of you that are not aware, we are on Spotify. We're on the different podcast platforms like Apple Podcast and Anchor. There's a whole bunch out there, and we're on them, as well as we post these shows to Facebook, LinkedIn, to the different groups, and we just want to make sure that we're getting the message out there. More and more people are starting to understand and get an awareness of sterile processing, and how important they are, an integral part of the business, of the day-to-day work of the hospital. And so we need to make sure that we're being engaging. And so that's what this platform is about education, and everything medically related. It's not just sterile processing. It's perioperative stuff. It's infection control. So feel free to join CSS Nation on Facebook, and be sure to reach out to us if you have any topics or questions that you would like to discuss. So I think this was a pretty good show there, Pernell. So I do have one last question for you. or is that I want to know if there's any last minute words that you would like to share.
We'll be back.